In yesterday's session, we began siman Tovkuf Pei Daled, which deals with the halachas of Rosh Hashana, the davening of Rosh Hashana. We began it yesterday with the Torah. We gave a nice introduction. Today we'll begin with the Shulchan Aruch and its commentaries, and we will get more insight on what Rosh Hashana is about and the davening, some of the halachas. The Shulchan Aruch over here in the middle says, "Ein oimrim halal Rosh Hashana v'Yom Kippur." We do not say Hala on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. So we already saw the answer to this yesterday. The Taz quotes this in short. The books of the living and the dead are open. How could we be singing? Simple explanation, as we said yesterday, is it's going to be determined, mi Yichyam, mi Yamos, who's going to live this year, who's going to perish. Deeper explanation, even those who are no longer here still get judged based on how they left this world. Did they leave a positive or negative impact? Did they cause others to do mitzvahs or sin? The Taz asked the question, what do you mean? Ask the Taz a question. I don't understand. We know that it's guaranteed that we will be victorious, meritorious in our judgment. And therefore, why can't we sing out?
Wait, how do we know?
The proof to this, first of all, there's a Shmos Rabbah, a Vayikra Rabbah. Midrashim relate that when we carry the Dal and Minim, it symbolizes our victory flag. Firstly. Secondly, there's a siman in another place, siman Tov Kov Sadi Zayin, where it's discussed over there, how we get haircuts before Rosh Hashanah. We are involved with a lavish meal on Rosh Hashanah because it symbolized that we are victorious. So how can we reconcile these two seeming polar opposites? On the one hand, we are attempting to grapple with that we don't say Hallel because it's a time of din, of judgment. Yomim Noraim, days of awe. But on the other hand, we know that we're going to be victorious, and we do acts that symbolize our success with the judgment, such as a lavish meal, getting a haircut before, wearing nice clothing, etc. So this question is a classic question when it comes to the hashkafos of Rosh Hashanah. What is the mohos? What is the essence of Rosh Hashanah? And what is going on over here? What is going on? And this also affects the halacha as well, not just the outlook. Taz answers, Mikom makom, sarach liyos yara v'charer me'emas hadin v'al yedei kach nizke l'zachos. Nevertheless, a person needs to be fearful from the fear of judgment. And through that, we'll have a merit. Through that, we'll have a merit. We see from over here the concept of that even though that someone knows that he's going to be successful, nevertheless, there's that idea of still having not necessarily a humbled state, but rather you should be in some sort of not overly confident state. Still be worried about the situation at hand. This is a serious time. So, in other words, the Taz and the short Taz is giving us tremendous insight. And even though this Taz is talking halacha l'maisa, the truth is this could be incorporated on the notes on Drush, on Divrei Torah and Rosh Hashanah. Because this is a beautiful hashkafic point, which is that it's both. That's why it's such a good question. On the one hand, We know that we're going to be successful. On the other hand, we still have to have a serious state and be in fear, in awe. And that's the only way that we'll have true success. That's the Taz. The Mogen Avram deals with another point, which we're going to hold off on momentarily, which is how could you say, if you're saying Tehillim and you get up to Hallel and Tehillim, what are you doing on Rosh Hashanah? That's what the Mogen Avram is going to deal with over here. This question, a lot of ink has been used to address this question. On the page of the Shulchan Aruch over here, we only see the Taz. However, it's certainly worthwhile to cross-reference to another location. If we cross-reference the
Yes.
siman Tuf
You can say that about Tachanun too,
Kuf
right? Tachanun?
Tuf Kuf Pei Aleph. Tuf Kuf Pei Aleph. We already learned together, actually, in the past. This deals with everything before Rosh Hashanah. It's the first siman in Hilchos Rosh Hashanah. In this siman, there's a beautiful Chachma Shleima. But before we see that, look at the Shulchan Aruch over here. We do laundry, we get haircuts, mekabsin, mesaprim be'er Rosh Hashanah. Okay? On the eve of Rosh Hashanah, before Rosh Hashanah. This obviously ties into to what we just spoke about before in the other siman, Tov Kuf Sadi Zayin, which deals with that we shouldn't fast at Rosh Hashanah. We're supposed to have a lavish meal, which is a major discussion of itself. We'll get there. The plan is we're gonna tackle not necessarily all in this year, but we're gonna cover everything that applies to Rosh Hashanah except for shofar. Then we're gonna do all of shofar. It's gonna be the long-term game plan. But anyways, the Chachma Shloima over here, one of my favorites. I'm just so humbled whenever I learn the Chachma Shloima. I could probably spend my entire life just dedicated to learning everything that the Chachma Shlomo writes, and I still wouldn't finish it. I mean, it's truly inspiring and humbling when a person analyzes the Chachma Shlomo in his writings. It's truly an amazing thing how much he wrote. Chachma Shlomo down over here. It's a small print and it's wide line, so it's pretty hard to zoom in on. I don't really know the best zoom in strategy. I guess we could try to do this and we'll go back and forth. Maybe that's the best strategy. This is the Chachma Shlomo over here, okay, and it's on the Sif Gimel. It's on this section of the Shulchan Aruch. Siman Tav Kuf Pei Aleph. It's not an R siman, okay, and it's on Sif Daled, what we just saw. The Chachma Shlomo, he actually says, look at the Taz in Sif Katan Hey. The Taz addresses another issue which he addressed in our siman. We want to show that we're gonna be victorious, that we know that we're gonna be victorious in our judgment. That's what we're doing over here. That's why we're doing all of this. Okay. That's the point of all this. But he says, Akoponim, don't wear super duper fancy clothing like other Yomim Tovim. Don't wear your nicest clothing. Because nevertheless, we have to have a certain awe on us, a certain fear for the Yom Hadin. Rather, just wear nice clothing, but not your nicest. We see from this Taz, the Taz L'Shitoscha. This is consistent with the Taz and our siman that we just saw. That it's kind of a mixed emotion event. A mixed emotion time period. That's a beautiful word, mixed emotions. That on the one hand, it's times of awe. And on the other hand, We know that we're going to be victorious, but we're only going to be victorious if we have the proper mindset, the proper attitude going in. And therefore, that halachically affects how we dress. Don't wear the nicest clothing like on every Yom Tov, but still wear nice clothing. Not the nicest. Yeah.
So how does that work in the pecking order of nice clothing? Is Shabbos, Rosh Hashana, Yantiv, or is it?
Yeah.
I mean, Rosh Hashana, Shabbos, Yantiv.
Exactly.
Is Rosh Hashana you're supposed to wear big day Shabbos?
Exactly. Probably it will be similar to Shabbos clothing.
Okay.
Similar to Shabbos clothing. Comes along the Chachma Shlama. And this is where things get very interesting over here. Chachma Shlomo begins by quoting a Yafa Mareh and his commentary to Maseches Rosh Hashanah Perek Aleph Osir Aleph. Yes, the obvious question based on the Gemara in Rosh Hashanah Lamed Beis, why don't we say Halal in Rosh Hashanah? We already learned. Hashem answered the angels. It was such a good question. The angels asked, Book and Living Dead are open. How are they going to be singing? Im Kain Mashma. The Loi Shayich Simcha Lefanav. It's implied that the time of Rosh Hashanah is not a happy time. Because we're not singing. You sing when you're happy.
But if you
No
say
one sings when they're unhappy. The Khan, Omer, Sheroy, L'Smoyach, Shebetuchim, Sheyizko, Oisam, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But over here, we're saying, no, it's fitting to rejoice. Because we're guaranteed that we're going to have success with our judgment. So ask the Chachma Shlomo, a little bit different than the Taz's question, but very similar. Is Rosh Hashanah a time of happiness or not? Is this a tekufa of simcha or not? David, you want to say something? Looks like you're freezing over there. You have bad reception. So he says, I already said in my Chedushim, Kano, Fanam Leishiv Zeh.
no, it's like wait,
Passive swarm on
set too. It's siman.
What'd you say? Can't hear you at all.
No, it's fine. It's not.
What'd you say?
Bad reception.
You got bad reception. It's can't hear you. Bad reception.
Who says that people don't sing when they're upset?
Me.
They say, yeah.
Yeah. Most people don't sing when they're upset.
Maybe they wail.
Yeah. They cry.
Wait, okay.
When people are sad, they cry. They don't laugh.
And
when people are happy,
if,
they laugh. And they sing.
And if you say a kapito Tehillim, that if you say Tehillim, each day, is it the same thing as saying if you're saying Hallel, if you're up to Hallel, if you're up to Tachanun, if you're up to, you'd say basically a lot of tefillah is Tehillim. So if you're saying Tehillim during the day, is it the same thing as saying Hallel?
I already said we're going to get to it in the Magen Avraham. We have to wait momentarily. Already addressed that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Comes the Chachma Shlomo to answer this beautiful question, which, by the way, this is the mohus and the yesod of Rosh Hashanah. This defines, categorizes what Rosh Hashanah is all about. Today I'm going to explain this in a different way based on what I wrote when I was young. When I was a kid, the Yaldus. What did we do when we were kids? Chachma Shlomo knows what he did. He was writing Chedushay Torah HaKadoshim. Manane Basre. Yeah, that's right. Oh wow, it is so small on this computer. And you don't zoom in. Phew. All right, we're gonna have to do what we're doing over here. Where were we? Amasha Kosva Medrash. It says in the Vayikra Rabbah, Parsha Lamed Oz Beis, the Yisrael v'umas ha'olam nechnasin u'mekatri yigin. B'Rosh Hashanah ve'ein anu yoidim min natzach that what's going to happen? Sorry about that. That we're going to get judged, us and the other nations of the world on Rosh Hashanah, and we don't know who will be victorious. There it is. But from the fact that we're holding the lulav, it's interesting, it just says the lulav, not all the dalin. But from the fact that we're holding all the dalin minim, this is evident that we will be victorious. Biarti Kavana, explain the intention of this, says the Chachma Shlomo. Deikir kitruk shelahem havi mi yipol b'chelko yizbarach. Question is, who's going to fall on Hashem's portion? Beginning of the creation of the world, there's some sort of lottery, and we fell in Hashem's portion, the Jewish people. Like the pasuk in Devarim says at the end of Chumash, Yaakov Chevel Chlasoi. We are part of the rope of the inheritance. Okay, so too. Every single world, Hashem annually makes the world completely new again. It's considered a lottery. And the other nations of the world, they enter in and they the kitrug. They prosecute.
Happening now.
And Hashem, they prosecute that Hashem should take the Jewish people and throw them away and choose them instead. They try to turn the seats around at the table, musical chairs. Ayin Shamsi there for the Medrash, more details. Based on that introduction, there are two aspects of Rosh Hashanah. Echad, number one, have a look inside. Echad hanogeya beinenu. What's going on between us? It's not frozen. He's looking out the window of his car. Number one, what applies with us? Right over here where the mouse is. What applies between us and Hashem. Fourth, the bottom line. Masha kol echad chayiv b'avonatzo. There it is. There's an individual judgment that is occurring. V'hasheni hayumasha anu nidoinim b'kol am ha'umois. Bechlal, excuse me. Masha anu nidoinim bechlal ima umas o'ilam imi yupo b'chalku yisbarach. We get judged against other nations. In other words, there's two judgments that are happening on Rosh Hashanah. This is the chiddush of the Chachma Shlomo. Number one, our personal judgment, individually. And number two, the communal judgment. We get judged as a nation altogether. Fourth, the bottom line, continuing right after the period. V'hinei al zeh hadin anu nidunim yibo b'chelku yizbarach b'zenu betuchin shebavada yitzchis shal b'dim bli safek. What does it mean when it says, oh, we know guaranteed for sure that we're going to be victorious in our judgment? Which judgment is that talking about? Is that talking about the personal judgment or the communal judgment as Am Yisrael? The answer is the latter. That is the communal judgment as a whole. That we know that we're going to be successful. Now we go to the third to bottom line. Al hadin hasheni shebein adam l'makom yesh panim lakanu lakan. Regarding the second judgment, our personal judgment, it could go either way. Some people could merit, some people, it could be the opposite. What's up over here in the air, what is undetermined, is our personal judgment. Where is that going to lead us on Rosh Hashanah? We don't know what's going to happen. Let's see ourselves. Let's analyze this matter over here. Im ha'adam misad echad yarviach harbe v'yavalo oisher rav. Let's talk about money. Let's say if you have one person number one, he gets a lot of money. Okay? A lot of money. One problem. Mitzad hasheni yumshach lo ye'ezag mas nefesh. But he has a sorrow. Something difficult comes up. All right? Fine. As kol agmas nefesh. Kain, no problem. He has an issue, but he's got a lot of money. So that issue, the difficulty that happened, no problem. Below Yasa, Roshim Keneged Hahoin Vasimcha Chadash Abala. This guy, he just received a Yerusha. He got, saying something that could very well happen, $100 million. It could happen. Yeah. Distant relative, $100 million. He was having a bad day that day. Something went a little wrong. His boss fired him. Think the guy cares that his boss fired him? This guy's sitting on $100 million right now. That's person one. Let's talk about person two. Second to bottom line, David. It's
Yeah.
a new happiness. It's new money. Aval. This applies to more you, David. Imu Oshir Godel Mizman Rav. This guy isn't the new kid on the block with wealth.
Mhm.
He had wealth for a long time. You look at someone like David. Ezehu Oshir Hasameach Bechelka. David's got all the wealth. Look at his face. Look at that simcha that he has. He's so happy with everything that Hashem gave him. But let's say we're talking about the Ashir that Rabbi Tarfon refers to in the Gemara in Shabbos Chav Hey on the base. An Ashir is you have to have a lot of actual money. You have a lot of big house. You got the big yacht. You got the private jets. You've got multiple butlers and servants over there. Actual wealth we're talking about. You live like a rich guy and you are rich. You're wealthy. Generational wealth. Imu Ashir Godom is man rabbi. Let's say this guy, he's been wealthy for a long time. So now if a difficulty comes his way that bothers him, you can't just throw money at it. It's not going to solve problems, you know. You can't just take money and throw it at an issue and it's going to disappear. Money can't buy a lot of things. So this guy's going to have a problem now with his issue. The tainug shekvar hurgol bola adam. Because a pleasure that a person is already used to. Shehurgol bola adam zeh eino poya. Bottom line, David, levatel hatzar. That won't be able to negate, to nullify the pain that exists. What on earth does this analogy of the two types of people who have a lot of money have to do with what we're talking about? Good question. The answer is Israel. So too with the Jews. Even though we have a personal judgment and we're unsure if our personal judgment will be positive or not. Nevertheless, we're not going to be in pain. Even though our personal judgment is in escrow, it's in limbo. We don't know where it's going yet. It's pending. We don't know. Nevertheless, we're not going to be in pain. Since we know that with our other judgment that we have, since we know that our communal judgment will be successful, we Therefore, it's going to be a different situation that we have. Continuing on the next page on the left-hand column. That's why I said I wasn't kidding. You could spend your whole life learning the Chachma Shlomo. This is the easy Chachma Shlomo on the Shulchan Aruch. Not easy, but he has a lot more length in other places. I think he actually says at the end of this one, I wrote short on this one. Yeah, v'duk v'ati shapi v'haven ki katzarti. I wrote very short on this piece, right? That's what I'm saying. The Chachma Shlomo doesn't mess around. Ubazeh betuchim sheyizke b'din. In this case, we know that we're going to be successful, aka the judgment number 2. That difficulty that we have on our individual and personal judgment, forget about it. It's as if it doesn't exist. David, take a look inside. We know that as a communal, on a communal level, as a community, we're going to be victorious. We're going to be successful with our judgment. And therefore, our individual judgment is out of the picture. It's irrelevant, so to say. And therefore, that's why it's a mixed emotion type of situation. A mixed emotion event.
Shabbat Rabbanim Mikol Ha'amim is supposed to carry us through.
Correct. And he ties it into this line that we say in the davening. Tashrei hava yoidei through. You know that time?
Mhm.
That's the most Chazana Sadeh. This is talking about, what does this mean?
Yeah.
Praiseworthy is the nation that knows the true of Hashem. With the light of His face, they're gonna go. Shimcha Yagilun Kol Hayom Sliach Yerumu. With His name, they're gonna rejoice the whole day and be uplifted. What does this mean? If we as a people don't know, how the cards are gonna get dealt, how it's gonna fall out, what the conclusion is gonna be. Right? And we only think about our own judgment, we won't have a simcha on Rosh Hashana. Because it's a suffix. We're not sure about our personal judgment. But if we know that we're going to be judged as a nation, since we're going to believe in that, have bitachon, have belief in that, then we know that we're going to be in a happy state. Because the simcha zoi, David, look at the top of the screen over here. As simcha zoi mevatel ha'atzvos sheyesh lem memakor acher.
Where?
The happiness will be so strong that it will negate and nullify the sadness from another place. The simcha will be the ikr, the simcha of the communal judgment will be the main dish, so to say, the main course. And the sadness that exists because our personal judgment is still pending and undetermined, that will be teufel. That's secondary. It will be forgotten about. That's Shad Ashrayam Yoidisru. That we know it. What does that mean? We know there's going to be that light over there. Then we're going to rejoice. The Chachma Shlomo concludes this beautiful piece by saying, Tinoch li Yisrael yeshim chazoi masham du badin yipo bechalku yisbarach l'chach hovi lehem asimcha chadosha ve'alkein mevatel ha'atzvu sheish lemedin atzmam. That's very good. We as a people are going to be happy. Aval HaKadosh Baruch Hu she'ein lo simcha zoi lakach ma'melein simcha lofana mikoach adin shedrunim bo Yisrael v'nagoy la'atzma. But Hashem, He doesn't have this. And therefore, Hashem necessarily isn't as happy.
That's heavy.
Yeah. Mikoach adin shenoisin bo Yisrael v'nagoy la'atzma.
Well, it sounds like before we was explaining it that there's the simcha, the klal,
Yeah.
and then you have to be fearful of your own judgment.
Correct.
That simcha outweighs that, and that's why there's an inyan of simcha. I guess he's saying in Rosh Hashana,
Right.
but not enough to say Hallel. So why would
Yeah.
Hallel be a yachid, not a klal thing?
Okay, so Hallel according to this. He didn't really. That's why he said I was a little short over here. He didn't really bring it back home to Hallel, but it seems like the idea with the Hallel is because we still have that individual, the individual, and we don't know. So this is a beautiful idea as to being happy or not. These two types of judgments that we're dealing with.
I would think that you should say Hallel. Based on this, you should say Hallel because Hallel is more of a tzibur type of thing.
Correct. One could definitely argue that point based on this idea.
Doesn't take away anything from the idea. Just
beautiful idea, nevertheless. The Magen Avram asked the question that we referenced before. Magen Avram asked a question and he says, Sarachi and Ksas. Let's say you have a guy who's saying Tehillim. He says Tehillim every single day. Ha'oimrim Tehillim b'kol yoim umatrimi lahem. You want to pull up a chair here?
No.
We're here for Torah.
We're also.
Yeah, he's pull up a chair. Yeah, okay. Man. All right, talking. We're learning about Hallel and Rosh Hashana or their lack of.
Oh, no.
Ready. I mean, I should get a monitor to put it up here so then maybe more people will come. So I was already thinking that I should do it. Mine as well. I'm spending hours and hours prepping this, learning Torah HaKadosh properly, trying to discover the. Magen Avram asked a question which we addressed around 23 minutes ago. Only we've done 5 minutes. Sarachi and Ksas. Ha'oimrim tehillim b'kol yom u'matzreinim lahem halal b'rosh Hashana ha'eich oimrim oisa. Let's say a guy says tehillim every single day. And now it's Rosh Hashana. But Hallel's in the middle of Tehillim. We just learned we don't say Hallel on Rosh Hashanah. How's the guy going to say Hallel in Tehillim? Answers the Magen Avram venerally, Kevon she'ein oimrim oso derech shira rak derech techinu b'kasha shara. It's Hallel isn't just about saying the words. It's not just that we can exercise our lips by getting the words out. It's about meaning the words and doing it in a way of song. So if you're just saying it like you're saying Tehillim as a request, but not as a song, that's permissible. The Haminag Pasha Ligmor Belel Yom Kippurim Kol Tehillim is a custom that on Yom Kippur to finish the whole Tehillim. Oh, in Tehillim is Hallel, Vayim Gankin Hallel. Rather, you have to say, based on the explanation we just said, it's permissible. How could you say Tehillim every single day? There are plenty of people, they finish Tehillim every single day. How could you do that? It says in the Gemara in Shabbos, if you someone who says Hallel every single day is a blasphemer, it's a bad thing. Terrible. There's a lot of explanations in that as to why, but how could you do that? Rather, it's like we just said. Yeah. So this over here actually opens up something else very interesting here. It says over here, look, if you look in the Pri Megadim, actually, he says, it says in your day in Hilchas Havelus, in Shin Pei Daled. What a beautiful area of halacha, by the way, Havelus, one of the least learned areas of halacha, which has incredible relevancy. One day we'll do it properly. But Mitzvah Hashem. But in your day, it says that in Ovel, he's not allowed to learn Torah. 7 days after the burial, you can't do it. But the Tehillim you could do. Why? There's Chiyuv. Same idea. Just want to pose the question. It's always good to end with the question. Get everyone thinking even more. We see this concept of that we're not supposed to be singing a shira. That's clearly what we see from this Magen Avram. Tehillim is fine. It's if you're just saying Tehillim, even if you're saying Hal on it, because it's not a derech shira. It's not the way of singing. How do we do the Shir Shal Yom on Rosh Hashana Yom Noraim? That's a shira. And how do we do Az Yashir? Shiru LaHashem Shira. Right? So we have to address that. We're going to address that as we continue our quest through the siman. Mitzvah Hashem, we will resume tomorrow, 9:15 a.m. Eastern Time, over here live in the Big Apple.
Sure, thanks for joining us.
Everyone have a wonderful day.
Tag is they have their hours. Fridays, they're normally here in the morning.